Scott Picken is the founder and CEO of Wealth Migrate, a real estate company that uses crowdfunding technology to give investors first world technology advice on real estate. And he's joined from us in studio today. Scott, just tell us a little bit about the company and its exposure around the world and how it started.
Look, Matthew, from my perspective, we're in super exciting times at the moment. There's three major forces that have come together: economic, social, and technological, and they're all colliding and providing everyone with a fantastic opportunity. But where it started is a long time ago. Back in 1998, I was actually at UCT and did a dissertation on how technology was going to change the property industry. And just like the internet has done in many other industries, it's cut out the middleman, reduced the costs, increased efficiency, and most importantly, increased accessibility. And so all that we've done is we've brought technology to the property space, allow people access through Wealth Migrate, the company's Wealth Migrate, but through access to the best quality opportunities and the best quality partners around the world. And you know what's really quite exciting is that 10 years ago, investing in property or real estate was very much in your backyard. You know, literally, if you were in Cape Town, you'd probably invest in Cape Town. Now, there's no reason why you can't find the best opportunities: America, Australia, England, Joburg, and elsewhere.
Now, you live in Knysna, but this operation is global. Just speak about your footprint around the world.
So, the three most important markets in terms of people investing are Australia, the US, and the UK. From our side, the investors around the world are actually in the emerging markets. So we've got a strong domination. We're a South African company, so we've got two offices here in South Africa. We're in Singapore, we're in Hong Kong, we're in Brisbane, Atlanta, London. And we're just opening an office in the Netherlands and in Europe. And I mean, with time, we'll go to South America, but for now, those are kind of our strongholds in areas that we're focusing on. The most important thing, our whole business model is built on partnerships. So we have an office there, we have a footprint, we have people on the ground, but actually it's a networking of partners that are all over the place, and we're collaborating with those partners.
Now, you wrote a book in association with Clem Santa, Property Going Global. Just speak about that book and how that can help investors or people in the property industry.
Look, in simple terms, what frustrated me is that the statistics came out in 2010. Over 80% of South Africans that invest overseas lose money. And that's really quite annoying when you consider that most of them, you know, are trying to get wealth preservation, et cetera, et cetera. And Clem Santa's got his world-class systems on scenario planning. Most people go along and they just hear them, but they don't do anything about it. I created a 4-dimensional model to help people systematically and scientifically make the right decisions as to where they should invest. And so with Property Going Global, we've taken them through the different markets. We've showed them the mistakes that South Africans make. We've given them pointers. I mean, I personally have helped over 2,200 South Africans invest internationally. So kind of through 11 years of experience, we've put together the good and the bad to help people make the right decisions. But most importantly, what we've tried to do is create a product to help people make the right decisions for their family. And I mean, as an example, chapter 10 has 16 different countries that we've analyzed as to where you can get passports and where you can't. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is they go and buy a property wanting a passport, and it's a bit like buying a boat. It's not a good investment.
And it feels like you've taken the South African business and you've taken it global, and you're also about sharing ideas and inspiring a new generation. And how does your company help the young in terms of entrepreneurship, really looking to grow their own ideas?
So I want to start with twofold, to answer that question twofold. Firstly, our entire business from the very day I started with International Property Solutions, we only do two things. We educate people and then we provide solutions. And so at the real estate level, we got this whole education platform and then solutions. But something I'm passionate about in South Africa is that the youth of South Africa are our only future. And to be honest, if they think they're going to go to school and then go to university and then get a corporate job, unfortunately those days are fast dwindling. So entrepreneurship's everything. So I was really intrigued by a concept in America called Lemonade Day. They just last weekend helped 250,000 kids learn the skills of entrepreneurship through running a Lemonade Day stand. And I went all the way to, I'm not very good with the word no, so I went all the way to Houston, spoke to the founder, got the rights to bring it to Africa. And our goal is to have a one-to-one, so for every kid in America, we have one kid in Africa. But in simple terms, by helping a child learn the skills of business through running a Lemonade Day stand, they get two things. They get self-belief, which I believe is the greatest skill you can give anyone. And secondly, once you know how to make 1 rand, $1, €1, no one can control you. Like your future is then in your hands, basically. And that's what we're trying to teach children from the age of 8 to 16. And if we can get that right, and I mean, if we can empower 250,000 children in South Africa, imagine the impact that can have on our country.
Did you ever run a lemonade stand when you were a kid?
I ran lots of different little businesses, personally. I did my first property project when I was 13. So, yeah, unfortunately or fortunately for me, just creating and building things has been what I've always wanted to do. But the thing that I loved about this is that there was no structure to it. So, you know, you might have, and I see kids all the time, they put a little table up and they try and sell some lemonade. That's awesome, okay? But what the beauty of this is it takes you through a structured program. So, you know, that's what excites me, because it's kind of like McDonald's for children to learn entrepreneurship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So it's really trying to educate people why and how and the process you go through in that whole very small idea of selling lemonade at a stand.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, so people ask a simple concept like, why lemonade? Why can't it be Boerewors? And you know, the founder said to me, well, in simple terms, 9 out of 10 people don't start a business because they're waiting for their Google idea. And I thought about it, I thought, that's so true. Most of my friends from university are still waiting for their Google idea. So he takes all the pain out of it and just says, it's going to be lemonade. Like, you can spruce up your lemonade, but it's lemonade. And then, so it's everything from what's your product, what's your location, what are the financials, you know, etc., all the way through to, do you keep some, give some, you know, what do you do with the money afterwards? You know?
In other words, stop waiting for that great idea and just get going. And as you're working, that great idea might come.
From my perspective, my first business model was, I'm surprised I haven't been called by Harvard to present on the worst business model ever created. You know, pretty much anyone that starts a business and thinks they're going to do X ends up doing Y anyway. So, you know, my philosophy with this always is, if you're going to learn to swim, you can read as many books as you want, but until you jump in the pool, you can't swim. And when you jump in, you're not going to be an Olympic swimmer. And, you know, for me, one of the rules or laws that I live by is, Malcolm Gladwell talks a lot about the rule of 10,000 hours. It takes 10 years to get good at anything. So if you're going to want to do good at entrepreneurship and you start when you're 16, like Richard Branson, you're going to be very good at 26. But if you start when you're 46, you're only going to be good when you're 56. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
the sooner you start, the better, you know, the quicker you'll get to where you want to get to.
The education system in South Africa doesn't really touch on entrepreneurship as much as it should. Is that something where you think there could be improvement?
Matthew, if we want to get into the education system, this will be an hour-long debate. Look, in simple terms, I think the education system's defunct. I think it was created in the 18th century and hasn't adapted a hell of a lot at all. And you know, I'll give you an example.
That industrialized model.
Exactly. You know, and you know, with all due respect, I hated Afrikaans. Okay, I wasn't good at languages. Okay, but I was forced to learn Afrikaans. But I was very good in math, science, history, geography. Like in business, if you're not good at Afrikaans, just get someone that's good at Afrikaans. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So why force you into? So I really think an entrepreneurship doesn't even exist. I mean, with all due respect, most parents don't know how to do a profit and loss or a balance sheet. Yeah. And I mean, that should be the most simple thing you learn at school.
You're going to give an example?
Well, for me, I mean, I had a recent example when, you know, one of the top universities, I'm not going to mention their name, but there was an honors student and a master's student, and they were studying finance. They were doing a master's in finance. And I asked them 3 months ago, I said, what's your opinion on crowdfunding? And they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, that sums up exactly what I'm talking about. Because my point being is that they're spending a huge amount of money, they're spending 4 years of their life to learn about 10 years ago. Because right now, crowdfunding is something that's changing the world, all over the world in the finance space, and they haven't even learned about it. Like, what's the point? Like, why not go on Khan Academy or Stanford, these online courses, and learn from the best guys, and it's free. You know, so, you know, I think when it comes to education, people need to trust themselves. And most importantly, they've got to get the skills that are going to help them succeed in the 21st century, not succeed in the 20th century.